I actually am more talking about how disgustingly dismissive they were, calling him a moron. You know, like that's more. I mean, what they did, they're
assholes.
Yeah, but I'm saying like
greedy assholes.
But that's evil, is what I mean.
It is.
Like that's
100%.
evil. If you really can wrap your head around like the nature of addiction for real.
Yeah.
And you say that about a guy who happens to be very wealthy and also happens to be an incredibly helpless drug addict.
Yeah.
That's evil. All right, play with matches.
We're back.
We are so back, you guys. It's like really exciting because we're going to talk about Matt Perry and his the details around his death and the arrests made because oh my God.
I didn't know. All I knew is that all I had heard is accidental drowning, OD, hot tub. That's all I know.
So I, generally speaking, when I hear that a person overdosed, I'm like, okay. I mean, it's obviously very tragic. I've had multiple friends who have overdosed.
It's
it's
sad.
not. I'm not minimizing the tragedy. However, when I hear that people were arrested for said overdose because they happened to be the source of like the final, thing that they took that knocked them off, I've always found that totally ridiculous. And so when I first heard that Matt Perry had...
I mean, it depends, in my opinion. Like, what were they provided? If someone's going and seeking out one thing and then they get something laced with something else that's like not what they wanted, I'd say, yeah, they're at fault.
If the person knew. If the person
if the person selling it knew.
If the person selling it knew, they should absolutely
100%.
go to jail.
Yeah.
If they didn't know, it's kind of different. But regardless.
Okay.
Let's just take that part out of the equation because that's not what happened here.
Okay.
Okay. So in this case, when I first heard that, I was wildly dismissive. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Here we go.
Matt Perry died, so let's get real serious. And then when I got into the details, I was like, oh my God.
Really?
It's bad, dude. Bad.
What happened?
You've got like multiple criminal doctors who were prescribing to him, which again, yeah, but under
like Michael Jackson status?
Yeah, but much worse. Like
worse than Michael Jackson?
Way worse. Because, okay, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Right? So actually, let's watch this really quick before I don't want to step on what we're going to do where we like kind of unfold this organically.
All right, let's get into it.
So, you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel though if you want. That'd be cool. All right.
While their investigation is still ongoing, federal authorities say they believe they know who was responsible for Matthew Perry's death. In all, 5 people have been charged in connection with the ketamine overdose that killed the actor last October, including doctors Mark Chavez and Salvador Plasencia.
Mr. Perry fell back into addiction, and these defendants took advantage to profit for themselves.
This morning, NBC News learning that Chavez's license is still active. The California Medical Board saying the board is aware of the charges, is investigating the matter, and will take appropriate action. Well, Chavez has agreed.
Spoiler, he's going to be finished.
To take a plea deal, Plasencia has pleaded not guilty and posted a $100,000 bond. The judge agreeing to allow Plasencia to keep running his medical practice, but says he must disclose the charges he is facing. Prosecutors outlining how they believe the two physicians worked together to provide Perry with the powerful anesthetic without a legitimate medical purpose in an 18-count indictment. The powerful anesthetic without a legitimate medical purpose in an 18-count indictment, in which they say Plasencia met with Perry's assistant, Kenneth Iwamasa, about a month before Perry died, instructing Iwamasa on how to inject the actor with ketamine. Days later, according to court documents, Plasencia gave Perry a large dose of the drug, which caused him to freeze up and a significant spike to his blood pressure.
Okay, so first of all, you not only, and again, we haven't got to the worst part, but you're providing
ketamine.
It's a I'm pretty sure it's a narcotic,
tranquilizer.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's whatever.
It's a horse tranquilizer,
right.
I believe.
But it's a super heavy drug.
Sedative. It's a sedative, yeah.
And you're providing it in form that's going to be injectable.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell his assistant to inject him with it. And what's crazy is we have not even gotten to where this is straight. It gets into like actually like criminal illegality where they were where he's a victim as far as I'm concerned.
Like they were like hooking him on it and intentionally like being drug dealers.
There's a player in this game that you have not heard of called the Ketamine Queen.
I saw her face. She looked a little shade ball in the beginning.
Wait until we get into her.
Despite the episode, the doctor left the residence after leaving additional vials of the drug for Iwamasa to administer to Perry. Plasencia's lawyer denies those allegations.
Doctors are in a position of authority and trust, and these two doctors violated that.
Still, investigators say it was Jasmine Sangha, the alleged ketamine queen, who provided the dose that ultimately killed Perry. The DEA says Sangha was still running a drug emporium when they raided her apartment earlier this year. The beloved actor had long been open about his battle with addiction and the struggle that haunted him behind the scenes.
If you worry that you're having this problem, or you know somebody that is, raise your hand, find somebody who's smarter than you about this.
He's in a K-hole right there.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, as I researched this, I found out that like he was on some kind of like treatment plan. You know, like we talk like psychedelics to help people off of like opioids or whatever.
Yeah.
I am not very familiar with ketamine. I don't think like microdose mushrooms, ketamine in the same category. What do I know? But like he probably thinks,
don't know.
Right? I just don't know.
I mean, I feel like I've heard of people like microdosing ketamine, but it sounds like he was
IVing
getting
it.
a lot more than a microdose.
Yeah.
This and talk to them and be honest about it, because the secrets are what kill us.
It's so sad. And what comes next in these cases?
Yeah, that is the question that everybody wants to know. So as the medical board is reviewing Dr. Placencia and Dr. Chavez's licenses and deciding whether or not to suspend those, 3 individuals have taken, plea deals. But when it comes to Jasmine Sangha, she is the ketamine queen, and Dr. Placencia, they're the lead defendants in this case. They have court hearings later this month, and there's already a trial date set for October. But potentially we could see them take plea deals as well. So this is kind of like changing.
I mean, it would be pretty absurd for her to fight this, given that they raided her apartment. And when you see what they got in the bust, ketamine is not the only thing she was distributing. She had, dude, this is pure speculation on my part, but when I saw the list of stuff she had, she must have been dealing through the dark web or something, because she had so much stuff.
Dude, the dark web is so crazy.
MDMA, like, I don't know, other narcotics that I know you get tons of time for. And she got, what I read was that she had gotten busted for that stuff and she was out on bail when this happened. Oh, but
that's not good.
Here's the part where I went, wow, dude, was that the doctors, they got records of their text messages and these guys were charging him, ready for this? $55,000 per treatment. You know how much money he has, right?
Right.
$55,000 per treatment, and they had text.
Him
Matt Berry was paying $55,000.
Not like a super bill to insurance. It's
Matt Berry cash was paying $55,000 per treatment, and they have text messages between the two doctors saying, "I wonder how much this idiot would pay."
Oh,
and that's when I was
God.
like, fuck these guys, dude.
Well, look at that. Look at that. These shady mofos. Look at their faces.
I mean, I think that's the DA.
No. Where they had the 5 of them on the screen.
See, look, this is the
Here,
let me hide it so they can see it. Look, this is the ketamine queen, right?
Yes.
Guns.
I mean, you gotta have a gun if you got all that at home.
I get.
But
Oops,
damn.
that's the wrong one. Okay, so let's read this though a little bit. When Friends actor Matthew Perry is found dead in a hot tub, yada yada yada. The arrest 5. The ketamine queen is shed along.
Yeah, treating depression with ketamine. I have heard that.
So here we go. Dr. Salvador Placencia, one of the accused supplying the actor with ketamine, allegedly called him a moron and wondered how much to charge him for the drug. Eventually, more than 165 times its price, according to prosecutors.
Holy shit.
And alleged dealer Jasmine Sangha name came up over and over and over.
How is she? If he's getting it directly from the doctor, like where does this woman fit in?
I think he's probably getting it from both.
Okay.
You know, like
she was accused of selling 50 vials of ketamine to him for about $11,000.
Man, he's getting a deal from her.
By prosecutors as a drug trafficker who knew the ketamine she distributed could be deadly. Her North Hollywood home was a drug selling emporium. More than 80 vials of ketamine were allegedly found there in a search, along with thousands of pills that included meth, coke, and Xanax.
Told you.
A handgun was also discovered. Damn.
She's fucked.
the home called, what is that? Songa
Stash House in the indictment was where she is alleged to have packaged and distributed drugs, mostly for the rich and famous. She is so
the rich and the famous.
Absolutely 24-inch dick fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you provided the drugs that killed one of the most beloved actors in the history of the world.
Yeah.
And when they raided your home, they popped you with methamphetamines, cocaine, ketamine, a fucking unregistered gun, and coke. And MDMA.
You're in trouble, lady.
Say goodnight.
Bye-bye.
Say goodnight. Oh, it's for personal use.
It's alleged that Perry paid them around $2,000 for vials that cost $12 a piece. Damn.
$2,000 for vials that actually cost $12 a piece.
A total of $50,000 between September and October of 23.
Told you.
Holy cow.
He also allegedly taught Kenneth Iwamasa, the actor's live-in assistant, how to inject the drug, even though he had learned that Perry's ketamine addiction was spiraling out of control.
Yeah, and I feel like I could be wrong.
It's a HIPAA violation for sure.
Not HIPAA, but like, I don't think you can teach an unlicensed person to inject. Well, I mean, I guess I could be wrong.
Providing ketamine to a ketamine addict, knowing that they're spiraling out of control, and then teaching their assistant to inject him with it is not violating HIPAA?
No, that's not what HIPAA is.
Thou shall not do harm.
That's not HIPAA.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. The Hippocratic Oath. Hippocratic Oath is what I meant. You can understand how I would get those two mixed up. Mm-hmm. I like my way better. HIPAA. I like
Oxford Dictionary is wrong.
I like my way better.
You should disseminate that.
The doctors provided more ketamine, even though he witnessed Perry freeze up while administering the drug on one occasion. Now, if you want to mitigate risk as a drug dealer who is disseminating drugs. It was disseminating drugs.
That's actually the right usage of
the
word.
Yeah. But if you want to mitigate your risk, how about you don't teach them to inject it? You know, like injecting increases the likelihood of overdose by 1,000,000%.
Does it?
Yeah, you shoot it right into the. There's no. What do you call it? Like, you can't throw up. You know, like you take something, you can throw it up. It can just go straight to the bloodstream. Mm-hmm. It's like, and good night. Yeah. Intravenous drug dealers or drug users.
The recommended dosage is for treating depression. Like if he's getting 20 vials in a 1 month period, like I'm curious how much higher.
He also bought 50 from the other chick.
Yeah, I'm curious like what. Like, cause I have no idea what
$2,000 for something that costs $12. I mean, that's a pretty big financial incentive to keep giving it to him.
Addictive behavior. Yeah, right? I mean.
Well, he doesn't know any better. Like, he doesn't know. He like, just because he's rich doesn't mean he. No. I'm saying he doesn't mean he has a source. Like, you know, he knows like one place to get it. He's an addict. Money is.
Oh, you're saying like maybe the 20 vials weren't for like that month? Like
no. Like what I'm saying is him paying that much,
right?
Is because it's not like he knows 20 dealers. He only like he's
but here's the thing: it is an actual not recommended treatment, but it is a treatment for depression. Mm-hmm. So if it's being administered correctly, he could have gone to any doctor in theory and gotten it.
Right.
Like. He was going to a drug dealer and getting
correct.
Far
he was going
above
to a drug dealer with a medical license and going way above recommended doses, and they were doing that because he was paying them $2,000 for something that cost $12. Now, saying it cost $12, I guarantee is a sensational way of delivering that information. Sure. Where it's like even if you paid for it regular, it's probably $350, $400.
Like when you get a Tylenol in the ER and it's $2,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it costs the doctor $12 or whatever, you know. But I mean, at the same time, don't you have to like go through a pharmacy for stuff like this?
But that's what I'm saying.
That's what I don't understand. How do these doctors have so much ketamine on hand just to like to distribute?
Some practices have medications there, so you don't have to go to the pharmacy. Like, yeah, but
here we go. Alleged cover-up attempts and discovery of second death. Following Perry's death, those accused of supplying him with the drugs attempted to hide their actions. Authorities say Mrs. Sanga sent a text message to another suspect telling him to delete all our messages.
Oh, yikes.
You're a drug dealer and you are doing business on your own phone.
Stop putting things in writing.
Idiot. You don't like how hard is it to do things on burners, dude?
Or a phone call that's like, hey, delete it all. Like you're going to write down delete it all. Dumb.
Just, I mean, honestly, I guarantee it was just, this has been working for so long that she just got careless. And then it's like, that's the thing about that business, dude. If you're not an idiot, you can get away with it for a really long time. And you don't, so you're going to get complacent. The thing is, if it goes bad, it's going all the way bad. Like your life is over. Her life is over. Unless she's going to roll up to someone else.
I think some people I went to high school with went to jail for selling fentanyl laced something.
I remember
in the
that.
desert.
I remember you telling me that.
I forget who it was. I wasn't shocked by the name, but I forget who it was.
Again, I am very conflicted on that particular one. If they knew that it was fentanyl, they deserve to go to jail, dude. Straight up.
Yeah.
But if they were just addicts themselves and they were like, I'm going to get some, I can hook you up also, then that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Eric Fleming, who pleaded guilty to conspiring to distribute drugs unlawfully, is alleged to have messaged Miss Sangha.
Who's Eric Fleming?
Shit, I don't know.
He was the other guy without the photo earlier. So this is another random person. So we have the 2 doctors, the ketamine queen, this guy. Wasn't there 5?
His assistant.
Oh,
wait a minute. No, you might be right. There's the 2 doctors, the ketamine queen, the assistant, and then
it's this guy who was the black photo. There's no photo of this guy, but who is he?
Okay. He pled guilty to distribute drugs unlawfully. Is alleged to have please call. Got more info and want to bounce ideas off you. I'm 90% sure everyone is protected. I never dealt with Perry, only his assistant, so the assistant was the enabler. In writing. Wow.
Fucking idiot.
What is wrong with these people? That's insane. He put that shit in writing. That's
I teach
unbelievable.
my children not to put anything in writing that they don't want screenshot and shared with the world.
Please call. I'm 90% sure everyone is protected. I never dealt with Barry, only his assistants. So the assistant was the enabler. Hey, so the assistant was able to get ketamine on his own, right?
Yeah.
No. We illegally gave him the ketamine. You're all, and you think you're protected?
It's not
you
our fault.
fucking idiot.
It's not our fault.
He's the enabler.
It's different.
He also asked Ms. Sangha, according to court documents, whether ketamine stays in your system or is it immediately flushed out.
She wants to know the toxicology report.
Yep. Authorities immediately flushed out. Hey, genius. If you
gone.
overdose on something, it's in your fucking system because your system stops working when you die. It's all there. Authorities say they use...
Some of them break down, but yeah.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I don't know if you've ever looked into the Kurt Cobain suicide. That was definitely not a suicide.
No.
So
Was it not?
Oh yeah, no.
Really?
Courtney Love murdered him for sure. This documentary is
Talk about crazy women.
the way that they like that.
Yeah.
The way that they did that story. So
How?
it's a documentary called "Soaked in Bleach."
Oh.
And here's
I
exactly.
think I've heard of that.
Exactly what happened was she had, without getting into the entire background, she had him murdered.
Okay.
He was as far as
she got a hit person?
she had a drug addict friend of hers who was there do it.
Oh.
But like,
Boo.
so he was one of the most famous people in the world, right? And so
Who is he?
Kurt Cobain.
I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Wow. I'm embarrassed. But Courtney Love, so she had to put on this act for, she overdoes it, because
she oversells. Yeah.
Right. So she's like, I gotta, sell everybody that I have nothing to do with this. So she
goes on this.
She hires a private investigator to try to find him.
And wasn't she grieving publicly?
No. At this point,
hardcore?
he's missing.
Oh, okay.
So she hires a private investigator to try to find him, right? The private investigator that she hired is not the dumb fuck private dick that you would imagine. This guy is a legit investigator who had done years as a homicide detective.
So
and
he's
whatever.
like, you did it.
So as she's trying to give him instructions of what to do and send him around like he's a fucking Nimrod, he immediately is like, okay, there's something wrong here. And then when he gets
do in that situation?
Exactly what he did, which was once he recognized that it was almost certainly her that did it, he flipped on her completely, where she's still paying him and he's recording he's recording his phone calls with her to get, evidence.
More intel. Yeah.
And I can't believe I can't believe I've never told you about it. We should watch that documentary.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But anyway, the
Sad.
reason
sad.
it came up on the toxicology is because this like rookie cop, the former commissioner of the police, who was the commissioner of police in Seattle at the time, is in the documentary, and he's like, we made serious mistakes in this investigation. He's like, if I was still running the department, for 100% sure I would reopen this case.
Wow.
So, yeah, when you see how it got just straight up just determined that it was a suicide, it's unbelievable how little work they did. But so
On like such a huge case too.
it's because she did so she did some
She
really
sold
dumb
it
stuff
well.
and she did some really good stuff. Like
Yeah.
she did such an incredible job of getting the word out while he was missing, that Kurt Cobain had fallen back
Fallen
into
off the
heroin
wagon,
and
yeah.
that they couldn't find him and whatever. And so everybody's like, oh man, this is gonna have a bad ending. And then so when they find him with his head blown off, they're like, man, we
saw
knew
it
it.
coming.
And
Yeah.
like he's so famous that like the police are like, man, we knew it. So the reason that came up thinking about the toxicology is that one piece of evidence that is wildly suspicious is when they tested his blood in the toxicology, he had like 350 times the lethal dose of heroin in his system, which
Like
means
he
they
was
injected him
post-mortem.
post-mortem.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like they shot him up to like make it seem like whatever. And
they're like, if he had even a fraction of that, he would be out and unable to administer more. Yeah.
he would have been out and unable to blow his head off with a shotgun.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, like they're like, there is no scenario in a million years where this guy could have
forgot that
operated
was-
anything with this level of heroin. And so they shot him up post-mortem.
It pays to have a little bit of medical knowledge
Dude, well,
if you're going to try to get away with murder.
she got away with it. She did such a good job with the PR that even though the trail was
So
everywhere.
It
I mean,
is officially ruled a suicide?
it's been a suicide since like the next day.
Wow.
And no one ever looked into it again.
Why wouldn't they reopen it? There's no statute on murder, right?
I don't know why they haven't reopened it, but I would say that if you were going to actually get a conviction, you were going to have to flip the people who were involved, which again, if you had a competent homicide investigator who knew what was going on and then they were trying to like close the reins on her, her accomplices were absolute strung out heroin addicts.
Perfect. Great.
Which would have been easy to flip them.
Yeah.
But because like all you'd have to do is just put them in a room, and
Just
like
take away their heroin.
exactly.
Yeah.
And be like, tell me the truth, dude.
Yeah, we could be here for, a couple
Man,
days.
at least 3-4 days.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you? So, but like, I mean, it's just so obvious in hindsight, but the reason was because she found out that he was going to divorce her and they had a prenup. And his Nirvana book was when she killed him before
But the
he was able to.
was voided because of the suicide.
There's no prenup. He died. So like, if it doesn't matter about a prenup if the spouse dies, you just inherit all of the money goes to the spouse.
Right.
So he died,
Sorry.
and
I was
she
thinking of like I don't know.
she
a
went
will or
from
something.
she was gonna be out on the street
Yeah.
and like she was a star, but whatever compared to Nirvana. To she got full to $1 billion in Nirvana royalties, $1 billion. So that strung out drug addict crackhead bitch did one of the most lucrative murders in the history of the world and got away with it in front of the entire world.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
I did not know all of that.
It's a crazy documentary. It's so interesting just because.
What's it called?
Soaked in Bleach. We'll watch it tonight.
Bleach.
Well, no, we won't. Actually, that's not good.
That's not Saturday night. Like
no, watch something else.
anything else.
Anything but that, dude.
Wait, I want to see the end of this. Yeah. So 4 days leading up to the death, prosecutors say I can't say that name. Iwamasa administered more than 20 shots of ketamine and 3 on the day he died. So shots obviously is a loose term. How many cc's are we talking here? But I don't know what the dose is, but that seems excessive to have 20 separate.
Well, let's look at this.
That's like 1 an hour that he's awake.
Let's see what the ketamine half-life is.
2 to 4 hours.
2 to 4 hours. So what that means, I mean, listen, if the typical half-life.
Intramuscular, 0.5 to 2 hours.
Oh, it's intermuscular. Okay, so at least it's not, I mean, it doesn't matter. Once you shoot it, it's in there.
Right.
But it'll at least take a little bit longer than straight to the vein.
What's a recommended dosage for depression? Look up ketamine for depression dosage.
Okay.
Come on, give me a quick result.
At-home ketamine therapy. Okay, so
Yeah, it's like a thing.
Wait a minute. So you can just get this from
Yes, it's widely
ketamine at home?
Yeah, it's widely available now. That's why I'm saying
What
it's
the hell
so
is he using these
crazy,
fucking doctors for?
Because he must have been getting so far beyond the recommended amount. It's microdosing when you do it this way. And there actually is a ton of research on it. I'm not advocating for ketamine use, but I have heard stories from people who have used it for depression and it worked better for them than like SSRIs or MAOs. But this,
I did not mean to promote that
We're
company right there at all. It's just I randomly clicked on it.
but was it even on the screen?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, can you change that later?
Yes.
Okay. But so for him to be going to doctors and paying that amount, he had to have been exponentially exceeding the recommended dosage. It's because it's very, very small from what I've heard.
And also, like there's two sides to building tolerance, which I wish I knew less about. But like, if the typical half-life is 2 to 4 hours, then it's like at first, it's like, oh, you need more to get the same, but eventually more and it lasts less. So it's like no matter what you shoot, it's like,
The
oh, now
frequency
it's only
has to
fucking
be-
lasting 45
Yeah.
minutes when it used to last 2 hours, and then it's like 30 minutes, whatever. So like the 3 shots in a day is like not surprising at all.
20. It said 20.
20 in the last day?
20. Go back. Go back to
Jesus.
that. It said 3 on the day that he died, but it was like 20. Where was that?
Yeah, you're right.
20 shots of, administered.
Oh, no, he administered
total.
20 shots of ketamine.
3 on the day he died.
3 on the day he died.
Okay. I take it back.
What the hell's wrong with Matt Perry? He can't even shoot himself up. No wonder these guys would crack him for so much dough. He's helpless. He's like
And the assistant
he's like
too.
Jabba the Hutt. He just like lays there.
Yeah.
He's all, shoot the drugs in me.
Oh, good Lord. On October 10th, weeks before his death, Placencia is alleged to have bought 10 vials of ketamine from the accused co-conspirator, Dr. Mark Chavez, which he intended to sell to Perry. So
That's why they're like, I wonder what this idiot would pay.
Yeah.
Because it's just like they're doing a game of telephone.
Yeah.
This one knows this one that knows this one that knows this one that knows Matt Perry. And they're like, how can we get more of this shit? This guy will pay anything.
And then what's a large dose? This is so like...
I got to be honest, now knowing that you can just get it on the internet, it's not as... it's their
very
responsibility.
bad.
No, it's terrible, but it's their responsibility to know how dangerous it is.
Yes.
But like...
That's their job. He was heavily
No, they should definitely
overprescribed.
lose their license to go to jail.
2 days later, he allegedly injected him at home with a large dose, caused him to freeze up and his blood pressure to spike. Dr. Placencia told...
Spike up or down?
Spike up. You spike up. You don't spike down. You drop down.
Open about his addictions. That's another thing that's just so reprehensible about this is like, it was very well known that he was a really
Raging drug addict.
raging, struggling drug addict. Like not like a party guy, not
No.
like a Charlie
Like
Sheen.
I need it to
like
get through my day.
no, but I mean like a Charlie Sheen is probably that, but he's just like fuck it.
Yeah.
Like Matt Perry's like one of these guys that is like this, and he's like, their drugs are just ruining my life. And he's like, I finally am sober. And then when he falls off the wagon, there's no way these guys did not know that. And
For
they're
sure.
like, what would this fucking idiot pay? That's unbelievable.
A doctor.
It's unbelievable.
A doctor.
A doctor. What would this moron pay about a long-term on the wagon, off the wagon, recovering drug addict? That's insanity, dude.
It's awful.
It's disgusting. I mean, it's like
That
I
makes me
can
so
only
sad.
I can only like speculate that I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on one thing,
No.
just one,
What?
which is that they do not have any experience with drug addiction. Where like they, and I'm not excusing
You
it.
mean like personal?
I'm not excusing it at all. But I'm saying like there's a very different level of understanding if you've gone through it or know someone who's gone through it versus you have
They know someone who's gone through it. Their patient who they killed.
No, you know what I mean, dude. Like I'm talking someone close to them where there's a difference between like people that you kind of know or are involved with versus like someone in your life where you're like,
I'm sorry though. I do not care. You're getting to the point where you're prescribing that much. You know exactly what you're doing. Whether or not you have full understanding of what's happening mentally and physically for this person, you know.
No, you're right.
You are giving them a potentially lethal dose.
You are definitely right. I actually am more talking about how disgustingly dismissive they were, calling him a moron. You know, like that's more. I mean, what they did, they're
assholes.
They're fucked.
Yeah,
but I'm saying like
greedy assholes.
But that's evil, is what I mean.
It is.
Like that's
100%.
If you really can wrap your head around like the nature of addiction for real.
Yeah.
And you say that about a guy who happens to be very wealthy and also happens to be an incredibly helpless drug addict.
Yeah.
That's evil, dude.
Yes. I agree.
You know.
I have to go get our kid.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out, you guys. Love you guys.
See you next time.
Bye.